Coming up on this week's show, we have a special interview with local MMA gym, The Predators, and an exclusive interview with UFC middleweight contender Michael Bisping. My name's Ellis Todd, and this is UK MMA Weekly. Good evening. As we are aware, MMA is one of the fastest growing sports in the world. It is estimated that there are over 200 registered gyms in the UK alone. I took the time to visit one of these clubs in Blackburn and have a chat with long-time owner Rob Friedman. I'm here with Rob Friedman from the Predators gym here in Blackburn. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
So how long have you had this particular gym for?
This particular gym I've had just after Christmas we moved in here. We had a different place down the road, but I've been coaching now for about 3 or 4 years now. Various different places. So.
Is it just mixed martial arts you do here, or have you got other types of combat?
No, we've got a boxing coach, Sean Litherland, who also fights, coaches out here, and he teaches Thai as well. So we have quite a decent broad range of different martial arts, really.
So how did you get into the mixed martial arts world?
Well, I've boxed since being a kid, really, and then obviously seeing it on TV and that, and thought, well, yeah, this is what I want to do. So I sort of searched around a few different clubs. Had to travel quite a long way at first because there wasn't that much in this area at all. So I eventually found a good club in Manchester, which is Manchester Predators, and then it kind of went from there, really.
So what's the MMA scene like in the country as a whole at the minute? Is it thriving or?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going from strength to strength. I think, well, since I've known it, I think I've been involved now for I don't know, 9 years or something, but now, I mean, the popularity just seems to be going through the roof.
Yeah, why do you think that is? Because of the TV and stuff? Or?
Yeah, I mean, as a sport itself, I think it's a very exciting sport. I think that's the main thing, its selling point. I think the UFC, the way it's marketed, I think is fantastic. It just basically is, you know, the best fighters fight the best fighters.
Like MMA has this, well, from what I know, it's like it's just brutal, which I'm sure it's not, because I've sat in on one of your training sessions today and it's just technique. Is that more important, would you say?
It's massively important. I mean, I can't, you know, underestimate it. You know, just telling you how important the technique is. We try to drill a lot of technique, and if you don't have it, you know, you're not going to do well at all. It's such a big part of our game, really.
Yeah, the fitness levels of the boys that I've seen tonight is like the people come for the fitness aspect of things. Like you've been going non-stop for 2 hours tonight since I've been sat here. So is it, or do people come for fight or fitness or?
No, we get all sorts. You get the guys that come just to stay in shape, guys that want to learn to become, you know, mixed martial arts fighters and things like that. But we get all generally, you know, self-defense, anything.
Yeah, good. Is there any professional fighters in your club then, or is there any ones that you've got your eye on for the future?
I mean, there's a couple of lads, they're ready to go, you know. They're only young lads, they're only 18, so I am sort of holding them back a little bit at the moment.
Are you trying to get more into the community and get other people involved? Or
yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to start a youth project as we speak, really, sort of trying to offer some free training. Trying to get underprivileged kids to try and get involved in the sport.
Yeah, so is there anybody you've done that for, or?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of no pays. These are no pays there. Do you know what I mean? You know, I tell them if they make it, what do you have to do, guys? What do you owe me if you make it? You got to buy a car. They owe me a car. They know the score.
There'll be a few cars.
If they make it big, they owe me a car. That's the deal.
Good stuff, man. Is this your full-time job? Is this what you do for a living?
No, I wish. I'm actually a school teacher, funnily enough. I teach at a school in Rottenstall for kids with behavioural problems. So that's my full-time job. This is my part-time job.
Moving on from local MMA to the big plays in the sport and the UFC. On April the 4th, 2004, a local talent from Clitheroe called Michael Bisping took to the cage for the first time. 38 seconds later, he exited with his hand raised in victory. This was the start of an impressive career that currently stands him at 24 wins with only 5 defeats and competing against some of the biggest names to ever grace the octagon. Recently, Mike moved down to Southern California to advance his career and get that much hoped for title shot. I'm pleased to welcome him live from the studio via satellite. Mike, thanks for joining
My
us.
pleasure, thank you.
Now, you've recently moved down to Southern California. How are you finding it out there as an MMA fighter? How is it different from here?
Yeah, really enjoying it. You know, I moved there 2 years ago, and it's been one of the best things professionally that I ever did. Obviously, here in Southern California, it's kind of a mecca for mixed martial arts. There's a lot of great trainers, training partners, training facilities. Obviously, the weather helps as well. And the USA is, that's what the sport of mixed martial arts is its biggest. It's very, very popular out here, and there's much more opportunity in terms of sponsorship, appearances, and basically revenue, income. You know, so things are working out very well. Thank you.
Alan the Talent Belcher on April 24th at UFC 159. How did that fight come about? Did they contact you, or did you contact the UFC?
Well, after my last fight, which didn't go to plan, unfortunately, I texted the president of the UFC, Dana White, immediately. But the last fight was stopped early, and it was a bad call by the referee. But I texted the president of the company, Dana White, instantly, and said, "Listen, I'm good to go, and I'd like to fight again ASAP." I was actually filming a movie in London called Plastic. 4 days later, from the fight, I got a text message saying, "Listen, been offered another fight, co-main event in New Jersey against Alan Belcher." Alan Belcher's a guy that's been calling me out for 5 years now, so it made great sense, you know. He lost his last fight, I lost my last fight. Up until he lost his last fight, he was making a lot of noise about being #1 contender. So, you know, this is a good fight for me, A, to beat somebody that's been calling me out for a while, and B, to put me back into contender status. You know, a win over Alan Belcher certainly puts me back in the run for the title. So it's all to play for.
Yeah, and talking about Alan Belcher, we've seen some videos circulating on the internet. Do you think this is a tactic from him to get inside your head, or do you think it's him showing signs of weakness or something?
No, I don't think it's either. Alan Belcher is, he's certainly a step down in some regards for me in terms of competition. He's trying to market himself. I think he's trying to, he's taking a page out of my book and Chael Sonnen's book and people like that, and he's trying to make a name for himself. All he's actually doing is making a tit out of himself, unfortunately, and making a fool out of himself. You know, he's trying to be somebody he's not. You know, it just isn't him, and it comes across, and it's quite transparent. He's saying that I took the first. He just did an interview recently. He said that I took the first punch at him, so to speak, in the media. Well, that's absolutely nonsense. You've been calling me out for 5 years. 5 years is the first time he called me out. So, yes, I have responded to him. I actually think he's a pretty decent guy. I actually feel sorry for him, to be quite honest. You look at him, and it doesn't look like he's got much between the ears. It looks like the lights are on, but nobody's home. And he certainly pulls some weird faces that suggest he has some mental problems. But, regarding the fight, he's a tough fighter. He's been in the UFC a long time. I'm expecting a tough fight. I believe I'm the better fighter. I believe I've got the more well-rounded skill set. And because of those things, I will prevail on the night.
Excellent. So a prediction, how do you see the fight going on April 27th?
Well, I know that he's trained very, very hard. He's coming off a loss, and this is a fight that he's wanted for a long time. So I know he's going to be prepared. I truly, honestly believe I'm the better fighter. We've got 3 opponents in common. Those 3 opponents beat him, and I destroyed them quite easily. Now, I know it doesn't always work out like that, but I think that's a pretty good indication of where we're both at. You know, he's been fighting mid-level competition. I've been fighting the best of the best in the UFC for many years. So, I think if you look at it on paper, I'm the better fighter. I fought the better competition. But you never underestimate anybody, which I'm not doing. I've trained accordingly, as I said. But I think end of first round, start of the second round, TKO, obviously in my favour.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time. Right, good luck to Mike on April the 24th, and let's hope he can get that title shot that he's been working so hard towards. Now, unfortunately, that is all we have time for. Please join us at the same time, same place next week. See ya.